You're listening to Speaker Talks Podcast, the place where you come as a speaker, an author, an entrepreneur to get your information so that you can grow your business and become the expert that other people would like to see you. Okay. And today I have the great pleasure of working with Clara Rose, right? She's and let me make sure I got this right, an intentional influencer, and she runs Rosedale Publishing. Is that right, Rose?
That's correct.
Or Clara?
Yes.
Clara Rose.
Super common. People call me Rose all the time. Yes. You're
cool.
right.
Well, we were having a conversation here, and I decided that she has information that could make a difference to the people that we reach out to. And so, Clara, tell us a little bit about what you do, would you?
Oh, absolutely. So I work with entrepreneurs and professionals who are looking to intentionally and strategically cultivate their influence. Right? So it's really about being an influencer in your marketplace and how we can do that in an intentional way. I like to say we write, speak, and lead for organic influence. And that's what we're really after. You know, influence isn't about coercion or tricking people into paying attention to what we have to say, right?
I thought we had to trick people. Otherwise, they won't listen, will they?
No, that's not true. We're after influence. We're after people paying attention to us because they've listened to us and we've impacted them in some way. So I like to help my clients. We start off with a book, usually, and that's getting all of that stuff out of your head. We all have book in us, right? If you ask people, oh yes, I've always wanted to write a book, most people don't have a clue how to go about making that happen, right? So I have actually created a process called Brainstorm and Blueprint, and it's a way to get all of that stuff out of your brain. We get it onto paper where we can do something with it. It's like brain surgery, right? Get it all out and say, okay, let's blueprint this into a manuscript that people are going to want to read. Something that's going to be engaging, but it's also going to set you up as an expert in your field or in your marketplace. So we start there. Then we work through the book one chapter at a time based on the outline that we've created together. So you write a chapter, I developmentally edit it, make it pretty, make it flow, capture your voice as an author, help you with grammar, things of that nature. And then when chapter one's clean and tight and we both like it, we move on to the next chapter.
But don't most people hate to be corrected?
You know what? I find that my clients love the feedback, right? We all have a bit of like that nervousness. Is this good enough? Am I doing this right? Right? Is this good stuff? I think it's good stuff. Is it really good stuff? That's
I think,
part of the process.
The key there is that when you hire somebody to help you put together something, a collaboration type thing, you're a lot more open to what they have to offer. Now, I will tell you that I run across people who hire me to make them great speakers, and they still bonk heads with me all along the way because I go, well, if you want to do it, you got to do it this way. And they're like, nope, that's not the way I want to do it. And quite frankly, then we know that we're not a match and we have to go our own separate ways. But I thought you said something really cool, and in case you guys missed in the beginning, was intentionally and strategically.
Yes.
We love those kind of things intentionally. We want to do these things intentionally. I want people to come and find Steve Sapato, and I want to do that intentionally so that people have a reason to find me. And then strategically, we can be found on a strategic level, and we can also develop ourselves on a strategic level. I thought those were two great words that Clara has that she was using there. And that's important that you understand that when you're going to be building your business, you have to be intentional and strategic almost every step of the way, don't you?
Absolutely. And when we first meet together, when I'm with a new client, we actually talk strategy very first, right? So yes, our intent is to cultivate your influence in a strategic and intentional way, but we need to know where you'd like to be. What do you want your business, ministry, cause, whatever it is, to look like when you arrive? Right? What are the day-to-day activities that you want to be doing, right? You don't want to build something, get there and go, oh, this sucks. I don't want to do this, right? Right? So we're right up front, super intentional about finding out where you want to go. And then a book is a tool, right? It's just a tool. What do you want this tool to do for you, right? What do you want the outcome to be?
But most people say, well, I want to be a best-selling author, make a lot of money. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, I do hear that a lot. And I have to back them up and say, okay, great. We all want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, let's back it up a bit. We all want to be a best-selling author and make a lot of money. But the book that we create, we want it to do something. Are we pointing it to make you the expert in your field? Are we, what do you want your reader to do? You want to attract your tribe and have them connect with you in a specific way. What is that? So we explore that first. We look for your message, how you're saying it differently, how you're unique in the marketplace, and then we're going to create a book that is a tool that's going to do what you want it to do, right? And so it sometimes changes things for people. They're like, oh, I never thought of that. Well, I want this book to lead to them taking this course or this action, this service that I'm offering. Great. Let's intentionally create this book with that in mind. So strategy first, always start with end in mind. I didn't come up with it, but it's good stuff, right?
I had a guy last year, Clara. He called me up and he said, I heard you can do this for people. I said, well, maybe I can. Let's talk. And I said, what's your goal? He said, well, I want to make $500,000. I went, that's a cool goal. I said, when do you want to have that by? He said, next year. I went, oh, and how much are you making now? He said, well, almost nothing, right? Almost nothing. And I went, well, okay, well, how do you plan on doing that? And he said, well, I'm going to write 4 books and then, make a ton of money off the books. And I went, okay. How many books have you written so far? And he was like, none. That's why I'm calling you. And I went, yeah, I'm not the guy for you, that type of thing. But, people do come in with these preconceived ideas. I think once upon a time, the big publishing houses would give $100,000, upfront money for the right book, like 50 Shades of Grey or something, let's say. And I don't think she got that for the first book. She might have got it for the second type thing. But, when people hear that, they're like, that's what I want. And the answer is, only probably 1/1000th of 1% of all the authors even get the big publishing house, much less that kind of money out of a book. So that's one of the things that Clara has here is that she's going to walk you through this. If you have a book in you, and let's go back to that again. Do you have a book that you want to write? And if the answer to that is yes, then you probably should get a hold of her. So how do they get a hold of you? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, the easiest way, of course, is just shoot me an email at hello@craftingyourmessage.com. Shoot me an email.
Hello@craftingyourmessage. Now, get out your pens. You guys got your pens out yet? hello@craftingyourmessage.com.
Yeah.
And it does take a while to write that, doesn't it? Hello,
yeah, it's a bit long.
at craftingyourmessage.com.
Yes.
Okay. And then your website then, of course, is
clararose.com. It's actually in the middle of a revamp, so it's changing daily, but it's still there. So clararose.com is there.
Spell that for me, please.
Clara, Clara, Rose, ROSE.com.
See, and I'm always amazed when people don't spell it out. I'm a nutball. If you get on any of my podcasts, you're going to find I make people spell it out the first couple times.
Smart.
Because people do get, it's like Rose, ROASE, Rose, ROES, right? Why don't you just spell it like it's supposed to be? Well, the same way we talk about different names, right? I mean,
right.
There's, and I'm trying to think right now, Linda, Linda, Lynda, right? I ran across a Jeannie the other day, Jeanne. No, that's
different.
Jean, isn't it? That's Jean, isn't it? I don't, right? But that's just it. We all have to understand that everybody spells things differently these days. So we got to make sure that they get a hold of it. So it's clararose.com, CLARAROSE.com. And it's important that you reach out to her. You go to her website, look what she has to offer, and then drop her a message that says, hey, I would like some more information about what you offer.
Absolutely.
Now, let's be real upfront. Do you charge for your initial information when somebody writes to you? You say it's going to cost you $100 to get information about
No, not at all.
Nobody does. Nobody does. But it seems like people are so afraid that they're going to get charged somewhere that they go, I don't think I'm going to write, or somebody's going to take my email and then spam me to death. No, we're not going to. We're looking for a few good people who want to better themselves, and we want to help, right?
Yes, absolutely. Somebody who's interested in strategically and intentionally cultivating their influence. And we will start with a book.
Yeah, and we talked as an informational opening, and that's why you see me fairly casual here today. Is I just decided right in the middle of our casual conversation that I think she had enough information and she'd be really good on the podcast. And she had a couple things here that I already jotted down. So first of all, you said influence with a book, brainstorm and
blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, she's got all that. And then it was learn to write a book, format your manuscript. Then there was speak up, and then there was leadership. Anyways, I'll let her tell you all about this stuff. This is cool.
So we start with the book. We start with a strategic plan. I should say that. Strategy first, right? Because we're going to look at write, speak, and lead. How can we write? How can we speak? And how can we lead to intentionally and strategically cultivate our influence?
Wait. Write, speak, and lead. Do I have to speak if I write a book?
You don't have to speak. It's just another great way to build influence. So,
but what if speaking scares the poo out of me?
So there are people who can help you with that, as a matter of fact, like Steve. Or for some people, it's a matter of just having a little bit of coaching right up front to take that first step. And then they get enough courage to maybe go to a small networking where they stand up and do their 2-minute commercial, or maybe they're going to go speak in front of a small, targeted group of people, realtors, or whoever your target market is, and just get an opportunity.
Why do they need to speak? I mean, it's incorporated.
Well,
you built it in. We're going to write, speak, and lead. So, I've run across so many people who've written a book, the bestseller on Amazon, where they had it out there for 30 seconds. And they think that's going to sell a book. When they walk into a room, they go, hey, I got a bestseller on Amazon. And I watch people get on LinkedIn and as well as on Facebook and say, hey, my book is out, and nobody buys it, right?
Yeah. Well, for some people, if you already have a community or a tribe of people following you that you've nurtured nicely while you create your book, which of course we would talk about that in the strategy, getting them ready for your book to be out, that's great. Some of those people are going to buy your book and you're going to help them with something, right? But there's also a whole bunch of people who aren't going to buy your book, right? So it's up to you to get yourself out there. And I call it just getting on a stage. A stage can be a very small venue. A stage could be a massive venue, right? Depending on your comfort level and your goals. So for me, I don't think anything of going and speaking in front of 2,500 people. That's normally the size that I'm comfortable in. Not that I wouldn't do a larger venue, but the opportunity that getting out and speaking, the opportunities that come along, you can't measure those. That's just gold, right? That's business gold for you. It's you educating instead of one-on-one with a potential customer. It's you one-on-many. So it just makes good sense. If you
what she's saying, and I try and take this a different way so everybody grabs a hold of this. Imagine, if you will, that I say, hey, I got a new book out, right? And it's about the Civil War. And everybody goes, oh, right? But if I go, hey, I got a new book out and I'm willing to give you a chapter, would you be willing to read a chapter for me? And then, 50 people say, I'd love to read a chapter out of your new book, Steve. Now, I haven't told them what it's about or anything yet. What she talked about is cultivating, building, getting all that stuff. And then I send them all this, and it turns out to be, let's say, a love story about the Civil War. But if I had told you it was about the Civil War, you might have said, never mind, I'm not interested. But when you get the chapter and you start to read it, incorporated is, oh yeah, it's in the Civil War, but it's really, oh man, this first chapter captured my attention. I want the rest. How do I get the rest of your book?
Right.
And that's what we do from the stage too. From the stage, I do a thing, it's called Join by Text, and I haven't found too many people, and you see it all the time, but I haven't found too many people teaching it, which is, if you want more information, let's say how to be a great speaker, a great presenter, you simply type in more to 66866. You type in more, M-O-R-E, 66866. And if you do that in front of an audience, see that it puts them out there. You can put in your email stuff so I can send you that email information. Excuse me. And people don't understand that from the stage, if I've got 2,500 people there,
Right.
and I say that once, and only 50 people want that information, it's 50 people I probably wouldn't have touched
Right.
if I hadn't given that opportunity out. So however you do things from the stage, there's certain ways to sell things from the stage, there's certain ways to offer things from the stage. There's so many things that being a great speaker can help you. So when we talk about that, she wants to help you become a great author. She's going to help you put it all together. She's going to help cultivate your audience. Right, Clara? What else are you going to do there?
Yeah. And then after we have a book ready to publish, then we're going to talk about the speaking piece. For some people, that's very small stages. For some people, they have, dreams of a bigger stage. But for almost all of them, it requires a little bit of education, some groundwork. So we're going to talk about your signature speech. What is one topic that you'd like to be known for? Let's work on that. It might be similar to your book. We might be able to pull information from your book so that it companions beautifully with your signature speech, right? And gosh, you could sell from the stage, sell your book, back of room, or however you want to sell it, right? The text or whatever. I usually do hey, if you want a free gift, here's how you can get a free gift. And that gets them on my email list, right? So that I can market to them later.
Yep.
And so we'll talk about your signature speech, and together we'll write your signature speech. So you may have guessed that writing is my background. And so most people know what they'd like to say from a stage, but getting a really good, solid signature speech, super important. So we work on that. Once we have a nice, solid signature speech, then we'll talk about the different places that make sense for you strategically to go speak. And then we'll move on to, now, of course, you're going to either hire someone else to help you take that next step. Maybe Steve to make that.
Give me a buzz,
right?
Steve at stevesapato.com. Certainly jump in. I'll be glad to help you create your signature talk. I'll be able to help you market your signature talk. I'll be able to show you how you can get on stages, where you can get on stages, who you can contact, all that good stuff that most speaking coaches don't offer. They'll offer you how to get onto us, how to get your, how to be a great speaker. They will offer you how to be a great speaker. I've run across tons and tons. Matter of fact, I put it down as 10 years ago. I took this guy's course, and he promised, because his was, I've been speaking for 40 years. So 10 years ago, I'd been speaking for 30 years. And I called this person up who had been on TV, and he was making certain offers. And I talked to the secretary, and he promised in his thing, I can make you $1 million speaker. Well, who wouldn't want to be $1 million speaker? I was already I was already a six-figure speaker, but boy, how do you become $1 million? And I called him like 5 or 6 times. They said, oh yeah, no problem. I said, all right, so you'll teach me all this stuff. They went, oh yeah. And when it was all said and done, I said, hey, you didn't teach me that. And they said, well, I went, you said you'd even give me places to speak. And they said, we'll send it to you when you get home, blah, blah, blah. And I went, okay. And they sent me a thing, and I still keep it in my computer because I sent it to my people more like as a joke. But it was 108 places to speak. And it was like the Knights of Columbus, right? The Chamber of Commerce. So all 108 were places to speak for free. Now, when you're when I started off 30, 40 years ago, I spoke a lot of places for dinner. I say, hey, I'll speak for food. That's how I'll speak for food. And you speak for 20 minutes before they serve the food, or 20 minutes after they serve, whatever you're doing.
Yep.
But you spoke basically for free. And that's true. You need those 108 places when you're brand new. But if you're spending $4,000 or $5,000 to go to this guy's course, and he promises to make you $1 million speaker, right? And then he sends you home with places to speak for free. There's a disconnect there. And that really irritated me. Yeah. And so now I'm one of the few people who actually gives you places that will pay you $5,000, $10,000 to come speak. So that's one of the niches I offer. But yeah, it's vital that as you get into your signature talk, that you really understand how it ties into your book. And that's what she's going to be teaching you. I can help you hone that talk. She's going to help you select that talk. And that's important, that Clara's going to take your book and say, hey, now let's talk about how you can work that into making a lot more money.
Right.
So those are the first two steps, right?
Those are the first two. Yep. And then we rounded out kind of near the end of things. You're still working on promoting your book and getting on stages, but then we're talking about leadership and leading in a way locally, strategically, that is going to help you to cultivate some influence. So one of those things that I like to do is have my clients find places that you can volunteer leadership, right? So I was I'm a past president of the Association for Talent Development. So they're a national organization for trainers and developers of training. Been around for 80 years or whatever.
What's it called?
The Association for Talent Development.
Association for Talent Development.
Yeah, it used to be ASTD. And then a few years ago, actually the year before I was president, they did a big name update. I'm guessing 2014, 15, somewhere in there. And then I was the president the next year. So I found this organization, said, this makes sense for me. I'm developing trainings. I'm working with people who are doing these things. It made sense for me to join. So I joined. And then at my very first meeting, the current president stood up and said, welcome to the guests, welcome, everybody to the first event of the year. We're looking for these open positions on the board. When it was a brand new position, taking registration at the door. And I'm like, raising my hand. Now, I'm not even a member at this point. Right?
Volunteer.
I wasn't even a member yet. It was my very first meeting. After the meeting, I met with the president. I became a member because you had to be a member to serve on the board.
Sure.
Became a member and hopped on the board. Now, all I did was registration. I sat at the front table for every meeting, but guess what that did for me? Every single person who walked through the door had to speak to me. Right? So by meeting month three, every single person there knew who Clara was because she checked you in at the door. Now that is strategic, intentional influence, right? I met the entire group. I made them meet me, forced them to meet me, right?
Which is something most people don't consider when they join an organization. A lot of I've been to the National Speakers Association here for my local thing, and I've been there a couple of times, and I've never felt welcome because when I walked in, the person at the front greeted me, but when I walked inside, you got these big red or orange tags. Nobody said, "Hey, you're new. Welcome. Let's talk to you. Let's get to know you."
Who are you?
I wandered around and sat at the back table. Having sat at the back, had I listened to Clara before, and they said, "Hey, we're looking for volunteers to do this," I might have raised my hand and said, "Hey, I'm going to volunteer," right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Because I felt left out back here and no one made me feel welcome, I didn't get involved.
Didn't go back.
And so that's right. And so it's really important that you understand what's your purpose.
Right. Why are you there? I was there intentionally. Right.
Yeah.
I was there with a goal in mind. And so they gave me an opportunity. And because they're nonprofit organizations, usually they're dying for people to step up and participate and volunteer. So pretty much anywhere that you go. So a good example, currently I'm on the board of directors for the West Pasco Pinellas Business Association. They're small business owners locally in Pasco and Pinellas in the area that I live.
What did West? What did you say it was? For West Pasco and Pinellas?
Pasco Pinellas Business Association, WPBA is what they're called. So they've been around for a number of years. They do some really amazing things in the community. Love the organization. And I joined because I loved what they were doing. But then they said, "Hey, we have an opening on the board." Now, it's voluntary, right? I'm giving my time, right? But it's strategic. It's intentional. I'm giving my time, but I am meeting all of the business owners in my community, right? Not only meeting, but I'm advising in a board capacity for the organization to become more involved. So every time there's a big, well, not right now because we're on lockdown, right? But every time we have a big event, the founder and president is standing at the front, making all of us stand up and introducing us. Because we sit on the board, we give of our time, right? But in exchange for giving of our time, we're getting recognition. I am building influence It's not costing me anything but my time to build influence strategically and intentionally around me. So it was strategic for me.
What great ideas. If you guys don't get anything else out of this, those are great ideas. And you should certainly reach out to her. And how do they get in touch with you again?
Let me give you an easy one. hello@clararose.com. hello@clararose.com. Yep, easy way to catch me.
And so what I want you to know is that you can reach out to her and ask her questions, pick her brain,
Absolutely.
Find out information. If you've got a book in you, certainly now's the time while we're on lockdown. I mean, I don't know what you're doing at home, but some people are just sitting there, twiddling their thumbs. Hey, I got nothing to do. So take advantage of this time. Get that book done. It's time to put your brain back into gear and go, boy, I want this to be intentional and strategic on what I'm going to do for the next 2, 3, 4 months. Now, I thought this would be over in June. I thought we'd be done with this in June. Now everybody says because of the election type thing. Well, that means November. So we got all of July. We got what's left of July, August, September, October.
Yeah.
Right? So you got 3 more months at least. Oh my gosh. Reach out to Clara and get this information. Find out. You don't have to make a commitment. There's no commitments here. There's only asking the question.
Yeah.
So we're running down. I told her I'd keep her until about 5 till, which is about 4 minutes from now. So what other things do you have for us, Clara? We got now I already lost where I was. Anyway, we got the book, we got signature talk, we got leadership. Was there something else after that?
That's it. Write, speak, lead. So we start with the writing. So that's our most time consuming. First our strategy, then we're going to write, and then we're going to speak, and then we're going to find ways to lead and get connected with the right groups of people to cultivate our influence, because influence organically leads to more work, more leads for your business, ministry, or cause. That's what we're after, right? Organic growth of our leads.
That's so cool. And how do you beat the information that you've gotten right here in the last 20 minutes? I think what you need to do is figure out what you want out of your life. Do you want more success? Do you want more happiness? Do you want more influence, right? Do you want to be a leader? And she just told you, if you want to be a leader, you have to start volunteering. If you want to be seen as a leader, you have to be seen in a position of success and power. If you're going to be more successful, it's important that I teach people all the time. I run speaker talks. We haven't talked about that at all, but it's a platform here in Tampa that gets professional people onto a stage in front of an audience so that they can get their sizzle reel, so that they can be hired by these companies. And so my whole pitch is that you have to be visible. I don't care, if you're at work and you're looking for a promotion, you have to become visible. People go, what do you mean by that? I go, well, first of all, if you're doing presentations and you're imming and ahhing and umming and don't know, you're boring, and people hate boring presenters. And if you're one of the boring presenters, you're not going to get promoted. So it's important that you understand from any place you are, whether you're at a corporation, right, or whether you're on your own, finding that niche, right, where you are actually being intentional and strategic in your movement for success. And that's what Clara can offer you. So I would highly recommend that you reach out to her at hello@clararose.com.
Yep. And you can watch me every Friday live at 2:00 on the Tampa Bay Business Connections show. And that's at WeBeam TV.
That's at WeBeam.
Beam, B-E-A-M. Like
W-E.
Scotty. B-E-A-M. TV.com.
So if I go to www.webeamtv.com at 2:00 on Fridays?
Yep, you will see the Influence Matters show, which is my show every Friday. Just a 30-minute show, but every Friday I talk about something having to do with influence. So you can show up each Friday and learn something totally free.
And how long is it?
It's just 30 minutes each Friday.
30 minutes. 30 minutes. So if nothing else, you can record it. You say, I can't make that. I work, or I got that. Record
you know what?
It.
Yeah, record it, or guess what? It's in the archives for all time, or on my Facebook page, Influence Matters, or on the YouTube channel for WeBeam TV. They have it there. It's recorded in there for all time. So you can go back and watch it at a time that's more convenient for you if you can't show up live at 2.
see, it's important that we also start learning, because I mean, every time I hear it, I go, oh yeah, that's true. See, I've got a group called the Engaging Speakers Group on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
You have an Influence Matters group on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So I actually call them influence builders. Influence builders. Yeah.
And that's important that you can find these things, you know, by, first of all, going to Clara's Facebook page. You know, you can go to my Facebook page. You can find all these wonderful things that will help you grow. You go to my podcast page. You can go to my YouTube. And we always advise you to subscribe. If you'll subscribe to all of these things, and I don't mean all of them, but subscribe to the ones that you really want to subscribe to. They will help to change your life. Clara, I really appreciate you taking this extra time today. And it'll probably, well, we'll get to you on when it'll come out. But I really appreciate you taking the time. And if you people have a question, Clara, one more tidbit that you might offer them before you sign off.
Right? Speak and lead because influence matters.
I love it. Right? Speak, lead, because influence matters. You want to make more money. You want to be more confident. You want to have more power. You want to be more visible. Boy, can't beat that. I sure appreciate you being with me today. And if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know.
I will. And thank you so much.
Actually, Clara's got the recording, so she's going to sign us off, and we'll go from there.
All righty. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. I appreciate being on your show. We'll see you next time.